expand services.
So we get some
raise money from the rich and all of that. Yeah. So.
Hey. Hi, Stephen.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing? I'm just kind of trying to find out what you're wearing the red shirt and what you're all here about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What we're all here about.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're here because we're tired of the lies that we have to cut. We know that there's a lot of wealth out there. We know that corporations are turning record profits, and we know it's just a matter of having political will to go and shift some of that money from the folks that have been benefiting despite, they've been making huge profits despite the economic crash. And I'm a school counselor, so I work in public education. I work with kids. I work with, kids and their families that are struggling. And to me, I'm basically thinking it's enough of the lies about how there just isn't any money. That whole, sorry, we'd love to help you out, but there isn't any money. There actually is. So
there is some money.
There is money. So.
And you have some ideas, and your groups have ideas on how they could disperse that a little better, right?
Absolutely.
And you're going to present it tonight here?
Yes, there'll be some of us will be talking about alternatives.
Good. Exciting. Yeah. How do we hear more about your group? Is there just tap into austerity?
Solidarity against austerity. We've got a Facebook page, Solidarity Against Austerity, if you look that up. And and we'll be back. We're not just showing up tonight. We'll be back for the next hearing as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure if this is on the side.
Okay, well, what I'm here for is we're trying to create a little visual messaging here to let the city council know that the communities in the Portland are united against these cuts. We don't need these cuts. They hurt everybody. When we come into these events, they say, you got to pick your priorities, which is basically another way of asking you to stab somebody else in the back. That's not the truth. I mean, the truth is that Portland isn't broke. You've got Nike, you've got Black Panther, you've got all these companies that are making millions of dollars a year, have all kinds of tax breaks, through the free enterprise zones and the urban renewal, how it's done in Portland. They need to pay their fair share. Don't cut services against the most vulnerable while you're letting the people, the corporations, not people, that have been getting away with murder, continue to do so.
Wow, that's pretty straightforward, and it seems like pretty logical too.
Yeah,
I'm glad people are all saying this logical thing in a real simple way to understand.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
I think you'll be hearing a lot of that tonight.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Good. Thanks, Mark.
Seconds just about why you're here and what do you think about it? Do you know about the red shirts and what all this means and what the message is and why you're here?
Okay, but we're here to support senior centers from cuts.
Okay.
Because it's the best deal the city has. It's pure prevention. The socialization in the senior centers, all of the courses. I teach yoga. There are a lot of people like me who teach. We don't get any money for it. We do it because we are serving our community. You close the senior centers and you're going to lose billions of dollars, millions of dollars of free volunteer labor.
What do you think about the other services that they're going to cut back too? Do you think that there should be no cuts to city services?
Yes, I think that city services, there are so many things spent that are ridiculous, and it seems like the cuts are always directed at the people who need the service most, and the people that the city is actually saving money by rendering the service, and so they...
Right, because more people are working and making an income and spreading it in the community.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you want an involved citizenship, you've got to support basic services, or you tamp people down to the extent that you have essentially silenced them.
Exactly. So when you have a particular issue that is important to you, which I understand you want to testify about that, Do you think it's important to say, but I don't want just our program to be saved? That isn't fair to the other programs that serve the citizens. And there's plenty of money, and there's ways to raise revenue. This is what our...
Well, I think that's fine, and I agree with that philosophically, but I think we have had a difficulty getting what we do out in front of the public.
Right.
Because the people that we do it for, the population we do it for, are the older people. For instance, Meals on Wheels. For a lot of people, that's the only really nourishing meal they get in the day.
And the only contact they have.
But this is an invisible population to the people who are making these cuts and who are making the decisions about this. They don't know about this stuff. And we're trying to get it out in front of them so that they would realize it when it's gone, and all of the expenses from having a healthy senior population are at their doorstep. What are they going to do? Make the draconian choice to just let the old folks die?
Very good point. Very good point.
Good point.
Look forward to your testimony. Listen to what other people say about the big picture too, that there's plenty of money and that there's ways to raise revenue that would expand services rather than cut services.
One way that they could raise revenue is to the amount of money that is going to be lost on this arts tax thing with the adjudication that is coming up and with all of the management of a badly thought out law that was passed under false pretenses, I believe, by the public because they thought it was for education in the school. They didn't realize the small percentage that was going to the education of children. This is to favorite she artsy projects that people in power have chosen to support. And I would like, as a citizen, I support things. I live on $840 a month. I support OPB. I also support the classical music station because I get pleasure out of those things. I spend a good deal of money every month supporting those things because they're worth it to me. I've got to pay $35 on top of that.
Okay, well, thank you very much for.
Thank
we're
you.
going to go try to get a couple more, but appreciate your.
We appreciate the input.
Yeah,
Yep.
Absolutely. Do you mind doing like a 30-second or a minute interview to talk about why you're here and do you know about what people in Red are saying about this?
A little bit, yeah. Well, I'm involved with the Selwood Community Center, and they want to cut our budget.
Here, we don't want to let you.
And the numbers part of it don't really add up because they're going to cut us by they're only going to save $60,000 by cutting most of the programs at our community center. And this is a cookbook. It's a sample of one of the things that we friends have pulled together as a fundraiser, and we have managed to pull together $400,000 for support of the center, and we want to keep it open. It's a wonderful place. It's 103 years old, and it's very busy in our Selwood, Moreland area.
Do you think that the city has plenty of money to cover all of these services if they spend it right?
No,
Do you know about the Internal Services Fund, for instance, that has $160 million in it, or $125 million in it?
Really?
And there's only a $25 million $25 million too little for the budget. That could come out of the Internal Services Fund.
Really?
And it would only be a quarter of that. Do you also know how much money is lost in urban renewal?
No.
That just serves tax money, that just serves like the Pearl District, and it's going to serve PSU instead of being used throughout the city for programs like yours
So
and East County. So what we're saying is no cuts. In fact, expand services. And that by doing this, having people come and talk about their own thing without seeing the bigger picture of you shouldn't cut anybody's services because it's bad for the whole community.
Yeah, I read that thing in the paper today about the art fund. It's millions of dollars in
Yeah, but the art fund is not, I mean, that's another separate issue, but we have plenty of ways to raise revenue from the people who have put us in this financial crisis. And we also have the way that the budget money is being used through urban renewal, for instance, is serving major contractors and corporations for their pet projects rather than taking care of the city and keeping people employed, which is what we need in a recession.
Yeah.
We have to grow employment, not do layoffs.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for your opinion.
You know, the package is actually released. The way they do it is all the bureaus have been mandated to put a 10% cut off their existing budgets from last year, and then to look at buybacks of what they think is important. It's an exercise that the mayor is having the budget, having the bureaus do to see where their priorities are.
Okay.
And then he will look at the overall requests, and then he will put together a budget that's the mayor's budget that he will try to get 3 votes from the council to get adopted.
Okay.
What we're here to do, this is the final stages of this campaign, what we're here to do is let the mayor know that we want revenue to actually fund services, that we want revenue that is progressive, that it targets the right audience, the people who can afford to pay, and we want it substantial enough so that we aren't pitting services against each other.
Yeah.
I can't think of very many services that people are here to defend aren't worthwhile services. The city would like for us to just discuss, I know Amanda last time said that, well, if you're going to ask us what you want to save, tell us where we can cut. That's not a question that we should be asking people. What we should be asking people is, help us find ways to raise revenue to fund these programs. We can do that. You know, one thing that makes Portland unique is we haven't looked for local solutions for our local problems.
Exactly.
We haven't looked for a street maintenance fee to help pay for our streets. We haven't looked for some kind of operating levy for our parks.
Oh, yeah.
These are the things that we need to be asking, and we need to make sure we target the right people that can afford to pay. The ones who aren't paying their fair share today needs to be asked to pony up, get back on the payroll, get back in the tax rolls, and start paying your fair share. Because we've got some real human need here that has to be taken care of.
Oh, yeah.
And the people who've been currently paying have been taxed out. We understand that.
It's ridiculous.
We've got to give them tax relief while we turn around and put the Phil Knights and other people who've benefited the most from our society back into the tax rolls.
Well, how does the 10% cut, how does that fit into play? I've heard about this 10% cut plan that Mayor
Well, it's a 10% scenario. It's an exercise that he's going to ask you to take a 10% cut off your actual budgets from last year, the actuals, and then turn around and buy back what critical services you've cut in a priority of where you want it bought back at. It's an exercise. I understand, but we're waiting with bated breath to see what the mayor is going to come up with. Now, he promised in his campaign he was going to focus on services and focus on delivery of service.
Yeah.
And the frontline workers. We're going to try to hold him to that. We're going to try to have him look at, first of all, the first place he should look for savings is in his own bureaucracy. We've got a top-heavy city. The first step in saving money should be in the overhead costs of the city. And only when you wring that as tight as you can would you be justified in looking at the frontline services, because that impacts the community. Why would you want to look there first? You'd want to look for jobs that don't impact the community. And those are mainly in cost and overhead of the city. So what we want the mayor to do is look for his cuts where they belong. We got a span of control problem in the city of Portland. Our managers, on the average, only have 6 people they manage. They have 6 reports that they take as part of their job.
These are city managers.
They're city managers. Now the county has a 8-to-1. The state has 11-to-1. Now if they did nothing more but to move toward where the state is on their management, they could save millions of dollars in the city of Portland. We're not asking for a painful process. We're just asking for a rational process that's as rational as the state of Oregon already is doing. So we're asking the mayor, look at your overhead costs, figure out which ones are vital for delivery of services, which ones aren't, and make your cuts appropriately. That's all we're asking to do.
Exactly. Don't cut people in the public service sector. They're the
Don't punish the public.
Yeah, and jobs in general. The post office thing is ridiculous. They're trying to save the Salem Mill facility, and it's going to happen more and more of those are just austerity cuts in general.
That's right. You can't cut your way to a better economy.
Yeah.
You got to build a better economy by putting demand back in it. That means you put people's paychecks. You make people's paychecks whole.
Yeah.
You want people buying products? Well, you're going to have to pay them a paycheck to get them to buy products. And so what we want to do is we only have a handful of living wage jobs left. A lot of them are concentrated in the city. We're not going to cut those as well, because once we get down that path, where do we end?
And infrastructure starts failing. Everything.
Everything fails.
Upkeep and maintenance of the city.
That's exactly right. So that's my position.
Realize it.
Hey, can I get just a little opinion from you guys on why are you here?
Oh, of course.
Of course. Okay. And I'll get your opinion here in a minute. But Joe?
I don't really, I'm not going to testify. I'm just here to support Joe and the Individuals for Justice and the Progressive Party of Oregon.
Okay, good. Well, I'll hear what Joe's got to say.
Well, we're definitely here representing Individuals for Justice. I'm going to be talking off the top of my head tonight, so I haven't cleared it with the Oregon Progressive Party. But I cannot believe that they would disagree with anything that I say. And this is basically what I'm saying. You have two choices. You tell us that you have $25 million shortfall, you got two choices. You can cut or you can find the $25 million. Now, is it possible that there's $25 million in one of your hidden accounts? Because nobody can figure out the hidden accounts because U.S. Prague, who does the classification of 30 cities, ranked Portland 24th. We are 6 from the bottom. You got a D- in the way that you handle your money because we can't figure it out. You tell us you're open, you're lying to us. Even this organization tells you you're lying. You have no transparency. If you look at the money for the Portland budget, you cannot figure out where the money is and where it's going. So when they say $25 million and Charlie turns around and tells all its departments to cut 10%, he's cutting people's lives. And we object to that. And we say to you, you will not be here next time, Charlie. You will not be here next time, Fish. And Amanda, I know you're not running. Novik, this could be the end of your career. Don't do this.
And Joe, what do you want them to do to try to find that money? To
invite people in. Occupy Portland has spent a year looking at the budget. Invite them in. Say, what are your ideas? Where's the money? You got money in urban development that's hidden money that they say they got to save. When they create all these accounts, then they say they have to have a reserve in every one of these accounts. So they got money all over the place.
You know what, Joe? A lot of these people wearing the red shirts are saying that they can find this money through a lot of the wealth that's in this city. They're saying pull it from them, get tax money from them.
How about this? Wells Fargo does business here in Portland. Wells Fargo has billions of dollars offshore. Nike, who all these creepy people called city council members, have just met in secret and quiet with Nike to bring Nike into the city of Portland. They're going to make deals for him. They just sent me and my wife a bill for $35 because the kids need money for their art programs at school, and we're going to pay it because we believe it's a good thing to do. But the corporations say, go to hell. We ain't paying nothing, and if you don't like it, we'll leave. And I say leave.
Yep, we'd be better off without them.
Yes.
Thanks for speaking up. Yes.
Can I correct the record? The last meeting of the Progressive Party, which was on last Tuesday night, we did informally endorse whatever Joe was going to say. What we didn't endorse was the People's Budget Project info, because I don't think they have a tangible budget yet, concrete budget yet put together. So we didn't endorse that, but we're generally Joe speaks for us too, on the Oregon Progressive Party.
Okay.
So,
okay. Thanks for the clarification. clarification.
We do endorse what you're going to say. We don't endorse the People's Budget project because we don't know what it is.
And the people's budget is the people that are wearing these red shirts that are here today, but the Progressive Party doesn't endorse that part of it.
Because we don't know what it is.
You're unsure of what it is. From what I've been hearing it is take the money from the wealthier places that it is stashed away here in Portland through taxing or paying their fair share.
Yeah, but what the people at the Progressive Party wanted was a tangible readout of what their positions on it, so they could say yes or no or whatever.
Okay, well,
but in general, we are pushing for no austerity and then taxing the corporations to get the money for them that they have, as Joe said, offshore, and put it in the community. And why are we sending $91 billion to Afghanistan to fix their roads? The roads never get fixed, and the money disappears. It gets stolen. So why are we doing that work when we should be doing that in our own country?
I'm glad you guys are here.
All right.
What's that sign say?
It was just handed to me.
All right.
They're cutting a lot of jobs. And the Portland City Council and Portland Community College is worried. We have people here from the city that are worried about their jobs. We have Jobs with Justice here worried about their jobs. This is stupidity at its height. This is stupidity at its height. And these people need to get a grip.
Okay. Well, this place is packed, Joe.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I'm really glad, because if you look around, these people are not only here, they're pissed. They're not happy.
Well, I hope our council does the right thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Otherwise, we'll have another council. Ask Sam Adams and ask Leonard.